to the Rock Mount Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll take a look at how coastal Maine communities honored fishermen who have been lost at sea for Fishing Remembrance Day. Plus, we'll explore why one central Maine town has accounted for the majority of state's railroad fires. We'll bring you more on that ahead. And Republican gubernatorial candidate Bobby Charles is calling for town hall style debates. We'll learn more coming up. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. Now for the weather today, it looks like we'll have some light rain this morning, but it seems to be clearing up the rest of the day. Let's start off by getting a first check of our forecast. Devin Biggs joins us now.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We do have a small craft advisory that is posted until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Also a high surf advisory that is up just about in here and now lasts until 8 p.m. as we head towards this evening. Here we are. We also have areas of dense fog, pretty widespread, that is developing this morning. Definitely be careful with that as you do make that morning commute. That will be hard to see as you do move forward this morning. Remember, low beams or fog lights, do not use your high beams. But otherwise, we've had precipitation passing through this morning. Any thunderstorms have been farther down toward the south over the ocean. As we do zoom things out, we are seeing an area of low pressure tracking off towards the north and east, and we are going to see a few more thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon period today. Here's Futurecast again. We are going to catch a little bit of a break, a few showers possible, some more thunderstorms this afternoon before those taper off. Here's your hourly forecast as we do push forward today. We'll have some clouds, a few showers possible with more thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon with temperatures warming into the upper 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, communities from down east through southern Maine united yesterday to observe Maine Commercial Fishing Remembrance Day, a day to honor commercial fishermen who have been lost at sea. Ceremonies were held in communities all along the coast. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
For commercial fishermen, every voyage could be their last.
It's the most dangerous job in the world. Men and women go to sea every day. They don't come home.
This year marks the first Maine Commercial Fishing Remembrance Day, following the passage of legislation. It's a day to honor those who have lost their lives while making a living on the water.
Those of us that grew up here and have always been here know the sacrifices that are made.
Dedicated in 2016, the Lost Fishermen's Memorial in Lubec honors commercial fishermen from Washington County and Charlotte County, New Brunswick. This year, 2 more names were added: Thomas West and Stephen Johnson Jr.
Thomas West.
Spent many years lobstering with him, so it's been a tough few months.
63-year-old Thomas West of Steuben was recovered from the waters of Dyer Bay in April. His granddaughter says he spent the best years of his life on the water.
That was his life. I mean, 63 years old, he would go out and do these things by himself every day. He lived or died by the ocean. I mean, he went where he wanted to. He would say that, when it's my time, God will take me, and he wanted to be right by the water, so that took him right where he wanted to be.
The statewide observance also aims to inspire continued progress in commercial fishing safety.
Anything we can do to bring awareness to the communities for future generations.
Additional remembrance wreaths will also be placed at memorials all along the Maine coast. In Lubec, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, after securing a large majority of delegates before this weekend's nominating convention, support has shifted behind Troy Jackson to replace Graham Plattner as the Democratic Senate nominee. Our Calvin White reports.
Troy Jackson is now expected to take the Democratic nomination for Senate after 478 of 500 delegates have already pledged their support for the former Maine Senate president. University of Maine Political Science Chair Mark Brewer says Jackson's previous gubernatorial campaign's closeness with Plattner's campaign gave him an advantage in the large field of Democrats.
for some folks, particularly those former Plattner supporters and Plattner volunteers who really were unhappy that Plattner was forced out and wanted to have a say over who was going to be the replacement. I mean, for them, Jackson was, I think, the obvious choice.
While the nomination process came together quickly after Plattner's last-minute exit from the race, those looking to choose his replacement felt the process reflected their wishes.
I tried to apply to be a delegate for the upcoming convention, and I was going to vote for Troy. I'm a registered Democrat as well, and Graham Plattner was the choice originally for me, and then when he dropped out, Troy was a natural next best option. So
I really like a lot of his work with unions. That's one of my favorite things. I went to the University of Maine, and he did a lot of work there with the grad student union. I think that's very impressive, just to care about even the smallest of people.
Jackson will face an uphill battle to unseat incumbent Republican Senator Susan Collins, whose consistent voting bloc is unswayed by the Allagash native who originally ran for office as a Republican in 2000.
I just think he's equally a poor candidate.
Why so?
I just, he has no stand really on anything other than free stuff for everybody, so.
Do you know who you're going to be voting for this election?
Susan Collins, for sure, yeah.
After the scramble to find a new candidate, the Maine Democratic Party will have to quickly pivot its focus to fundraising for a highly contested U.S. Senate seat that the Collins campaign has already spent millions vying to keep. In Bangor, Calvin White, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, Maine's Republican gubernatorial candidate Bobby Charles put out a challenge to his opponents, calling for town hall-style debates. Our Callie Warren has more.
November is creeping closer, and there are 3 Mainers battling for the Blaine House. Republican Bobby Charles says he's looking for transparency in the election, calling for debates with his opposing candidates to discuss issues relevant to the state's well-being, including public safety, immigration, the state's budget, housing, and more.
But these are 3 people vying to be governor who ought to be able to say to the Maine people,
Charles put out the call on Tuesday, seeking 5 town hall-style debates that he compares to 19th century election processes. He says he wants to discuss Maine's issues in front of Mainers. Responses from his opponents varied. Independent Rick Bennett answered that challenge with a call to action of his own, saying, quote, "Why 5? 16 is better. Every county matters, and every Mainer deserves the chance to hear directly from the people asking to lead this state. I'm ready to show up anywhere, answer any question, and talk honestly about how we lower costs, restore trust, and make Maine work again," end quote. Hannah Pingree, the Democrat on the ticket, says she plans to participate in pre-planned television debates, saying, quote, "Mainers deserve to hear directly from all of us about how we'd govern. I know I'll be focusing on how my administration will bring down housing and healthcare costs and make life more affordable. I've been traveling to every corner of this state, listening to people and laying out real solutions. And I'll keep doing that right up through Election Day, on the debate stage, and everywhere else," end quote. One of those television debates will be taking place with our media partners, WGME, on October 13th. In studio, I'm Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, in other news this morning, a fire that damaged an eastern Maine church has now been deemed as arson. Pembroke Fire Chief Jim Ramsdell says that crews from several towns were called to the Dennisville Edmonds Congregational Church on King Street in Dennisville at about 7 a.m. on Monday. He says a passerby noticed the flames and then called for help. Crews were able to put the fire out quickly, but there was damage to the siding, as you can see in that photo. The church has been serving the community since 1834. The Maine State Fire Marshal's office has ruled the fire as arson. Anyone with information is asked to contact their office at 973-3700. Well, this summer, one central Maine town has become the epicenter of railroad fires here in Maine. Our Alex Schley takes a closer look at the growing problem and why officials say it's happening.
Despite being home to less than 1% of Maine's train tracks, this year alone, Oakland has seen nearly 70% of the state's railroad-related wildfires. Scenes like this have become a familiar sight along the railroad tracks in Oakland.
You know, from the end of April through May, and then now into July, maybe average one a week.
This section of woods off Fairfield Street saw the town's largest railroad fire of the year, which burned 6 acres at the end of April.
We got a 6-acre fire here in Oakland, and it was responded to by the local fire department and a couple of the other mutual aid departments in the area.
The Maine Forest Service officially determines the cause of each fire. Local fire officials say they can usually tell when the railroad played a role.
I mean, we classify anything as a railroad fire if it's along the railroad tracks and looks like it originated from the trains.
What remains less clear is why so many of these fires have been happening in Oakland.
They're unpredictable. We don't know when they're going to happen, so also trying to determine why they happen on a certain piece of track. There's a couple locations. We've had multiples in the same location. So when there is a slight grade, so the engines maybe are working harder coming up the grades, which cause more exhaust, more sparks potentially. So that could play into it.
Whatever the cause, fire officials say quick reporting from residents has kept every fire this year from growing into something far more dangerous. They are asking the public to remain vigilant and continue reporting fires when they occur. In Oakland, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
For several weeks now, a group of Ellsworth residents has been working to get an initiative on the ballot to recall several city councilors. City officials confirmed that effort is now over. Residents had expressed concern over city spending, rising taxes, and the controversial sanctioning of council member Steve O'Halloran. 1,500 signatures were needed to get the measure to recall multiple city councilors on the November ballot. City officials say that the group does not have the needed signatures, and so the measure will not move forward. They say they posted an update outlining the final verification results and the conclusion of the process on their city website. Well, Stephanie Damron has been missing from her home in New Sweden since September of 2024. This Saturday, her family is organizing a public ground search and is asking for volunteers to help. Stephanie was only 13 years old when she was reported missing, and she's not been found, and there have been no credible sightings. According to her parents, she walked into the woods near their home after an argument with her sister. Then they reported her the next day. The FBI announced a $15,000 reward for any information that leads to Stephanie's return or the arrest of anyone involved in her disappearance. Volunteers in Saturday's search are asked to meet behind North Star at the ball field in New Sweden at 8 a.m., and the search will begin at 9. If you have a four-wheeler, they ask that you consider bringing that as well. The family hopes to search areas just off of the ATV trails that they say may have not been thoroughly covered yet. Maine State Police are investigating a multi-vehicle crash that injured 3 people. According to the Maine State Police, it happened on I-95 North near mile marker 123 in Sydney at around 3:30 on Monday afternoon. They say that traffic had slowed due to an ongoing traffic stop in progress. They say 58-year-old Derek Forbes, a brewer, was driving a pickup truck and failed to slow down in time, striking the rear of the car ahead of him. Police say Forbes' truck was also sideswiped 2 other cars. 2 drivers and a passenger were transported off the scene with non-life-threatening injuries. The Maine State Police would like to remind traveling motorists to maintain a safe following distance during heavy traffic and to slow down. Anyone who witnessed that crash or has any relevant information is urged to contact Trooper Keenan Blair at 973-3700. The time now is 8:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, we'll take a look at a new monument in Brewer that's honoring the ice harvesting industry. But first, another look at the forecast. For today, partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunder showers, temperatures in the upper 70s. Overnight tonight, relatively similar with temperatures in the lower 50s. And for tomorrow, nice day ahead, mostly sunny and breezy, highs around 78. We'll be right back.
There's a lot to love about a Subaru. Find yours at Quirk in Bangor. Built on safety and reliability, lease Crosstrek Premium for $329 per month. Or lease Forester Wilderness for $397 a month. It's a Subaru summer. Find it at Quirk.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter. It's a hot leasing summer at Quirk Hyundai. Lease a 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE just $259 a month, or Elantra Hybrid for only $229 a month. Premium vibes, bold lines, and America's best warranty. Your Hyundai is waiting. Find it at Quirk.
Cancer affects everyone, but there is hope at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center's Champion the Cure Challenge, where every dollar raised helps patients in our own backyard. Make a difference. Walk, run, or cycle August 15th in Brewer. Visit ctcchallenge.org.
Maine's basketball's first family is bringing their game to the feud. Don't miss Cooper Flagg and his family on Celebrity Family Feud, Thursday at 8, only on ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. The IRS is putting a temporary taxpayer assistance center to provide face-to-face assistance to the community. The pop-up services will be available in the Bangor IRS Taxpayer Assistance Office today, the 22nd, and tomorrow, the 23rd. The services offered include tax law assistance, account assistance, payment arrangements, and transcripts and forms. In order to be serviced, you need to bring your current or state government-issued photo ID, any letters or notices received, and any other request documents as well. Well, the City of Brewer revealed a brand new monument that honors the city's rich history of ice harvesting. Our Sam Miller reports.
Held on the Brewer Riverwalk on the former Getchell Brothers property, a ceremony unveiled a piece of art that stands as a tribute to the city's ice harvesting heritage and generations of people who worked to shape Brewer's waterfront. The monument was commissioned and donated to the city by Doug and Nikki Farnham, the former owners of Getchell Brothers. It is dedicated to the people behind one of the most recognizable businesses in the region, an industry that shaped the economic development of Brewer and the greater Bangor region for over a century. The centerpiece of the monument is a 4-foot by 6-foot bronze bas-relief mounted on a piece of natural granite. It measures around 8 feet tall and 10 feet wide and overlooks the waterfront where Getchell employees harvested and produced ice. The original concept of the art was an Iceman sculpture. However, Maine sculptor Glenn Hines wanted to create a meaningful piece that captured the history of the industry.
Well, ice making was a very big industry in Maine in the 19th century. Maine ice was shipped around the world. It was very important for the shipping industry locally here in Brewer and Bangor.
Getchell Brothers was the last remaining ice company operating on the Penobscot by 1920. The company continued to produce and manufacture ice from its Brewer facility until 2018. Then production moved to Bangor, where it continues today. Doug Farnham is hopeful that the monument serves as a reminder of the 133-year legacy that Getchell Brothers left.
Being able to put something along the Riverwalk that allows everybody to remember the impact of the industry and to remember Getchell Brothers is important to both myself and the family.
In Brewer, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 8:18. After the break, we'll take a look at the latest disease outbreaks causing concern. We'll have more on that ahead. Plus, multiple weather threats slamming millions across the country. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season.
With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
It's the summer savings event at number 1 Darlings Kia. Get hot savings like a new Kia K4 for under $200 a month. Or lease a new loaded 7-passenger Carnival for just $399 a month. Plus, every new Kia comes with our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. Get hot savings all month long during the summer savings event at number 1 Darlings Kia. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty.
You'll do better at Darlings.
It's going to be a busy day for the National Weather Service. Teams will be surveying tornado damage left behind in Kentucky and in New Jersey to determine the strength of twisters in both states. And in the Gulf, Tropical Storm Bertha is on the move ahead of an expected landfall today. ABC's Hannah Battah with the latest.
From flash flooding in the east to Tropical Storm Bertha churning in the Gulf. Multiple weather threats slamming millions across the country. Powerful storms stretching from Tennessee to upstate New York. This tornado tearing through northern Kentucky, sending debris flying. West Virginia's governor declaring a state of emergency after some areas saw more than half a foot of rain in just a few hours. Emergency crews responding to reports of people trapped in their homes. The storm's also spawning at least 2 tornadoes in New Jersey. Fallen trees littering the roads in Stanhope. Large trees falling on homes and crushing cars in New York. North of the city, vehicles completely underwater. People forced to climb onto their cars' roofs to reach higher ground.
Everything was like that. Next thing, like a big wave coming.
This bus rolling over in blinding rain on the New York State Thruway, multiple people injured. The severe weather triggering more than 2,500 flight cancellations and over 7,000 delays, with ground stops issued at major airports from the D.C. area to Boston. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Bertha is moving west along the Gulf Coast. Its outer bands bringing high waves and winds to Panama City Beach, Florida. Some areas could be hit with dangerous rip currents and up to 4 feet of storm surge. The storm is expected to make landfall today in southeast Louisiana. New Orleans now under a tropical storm warning. Residents there preparing with sandbags as Bertha closes in. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
The time now is 8:22. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Devin Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. We have visibility that is down this morning with areas of dense fog that has been developing, so definitely be careful with that as you do make that morning commute. It will be difficult to see for a little while until that fog lifts. But as we do push forward this morning, some advisories posted. We have a small craft advisory until Thursday at around 6 a.m. We also have a high surf advisory up just about in here. That is up until 8 p.m. this evening. Wave heights definitely getting active out there at around 3 to 5 feet according to the buoys, and even farther out towards sea, this buoy here reporting 5 feet, a little bit lower farther out towards sea. So right nearby, this is where it's definitely a little bit active at this moment in time. We have precipitation that has tracked off towards the north and east this morning. Not much lightning with it at this point. Any thunderstorms are definitely over the ocean. We'll have a little bit more activity as we head towards today. A few rain showers possible, thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon with this area low pressure rotating through. Then once we get this through, high pressure will be moving in. So here's futurecast for today. Yes, a few rain showers possible. Will then be partly cloudy with a few more thunderstorms this afternoon. And early evening before we push all this out of here. Will then be partly cloudy overnight, and then Thursday a nice day, lots of sunshine, few passing clouds possible, and then Thursday night looking very nice with hardly any clouds at all. And then overall gusty winds picking up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour at times today, and then later on tonight still some gusty winds, but overall not looking too bad at all. So overall for today, we do have partly cloudy skies, scattered thunderstorms possible late with highs in the upper 70s, south wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, thunderstorms early, then partly cloudy, lows in the low 50s, and that west wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, mostly sunny and breezy, highs in the upper 70s, and that west wind at about 25 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday, mostly sunny with highs in the low 80s. And then for your Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid 80s, and then mid 80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event from the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Welcome to the show that nobody wants to win.
What did the itsy bitsy spider climb up?
How you guys feeling?
Stupid.
Babies on the Bosco. Gosh, idiot.
What does BBL stand for?
Big booty love? I don't know.
Nation's Dumbest, all new Wednesdays on Fox, anytime on Hulu.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event from the 2026 Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Hurry into your local Honda dealer while the offers last.
We now know how much the U.S. has spent on the war in Iran and how much more money could be needed. And we're also hearing from the loved ones of 3 American soldiers killed over the weekend. ABC's Karen Waugh is in Washington with the details.
It's the 11th straight night that the U.S. has attacked Iran. New video this morning shows warplanes taking off from an aircraft carrier, hitting Iranian targets. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth tells Congress the war has cost more than $37 billion. The administration now asking for another $67 billion. Some Democratic lawmakers furious.
The Trump administration's efforts have been an utter and complete failure to win this war to this point.
Your characterization of this incredible effort as a failure is reckless.
I use the word failure to their leaders. You, sir, are the failure.
He has told us over 40 times now that a deal is near and the war will be over soon.
ABC's Mary Bruce asked President Trump how it will all end.
So talks are
do you know
still
something
possible,
that I don't know? Do you know something I don't know?
Well, tell us.
I will tell you, they want to desperately meet.
But Trump has repeatedly said this over the 5 months of the war, in which 18 service members have died. The Pentagon identified 2 more American soldiers killed over the weekend, 28-year-old Sergeant Angel Ramprasad of New York and 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Swinton from North Carolina. Swinton's wife tells ABC News he was an incredible husband and father of 2 young children. The youngest soldier killed recently, 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez from Texas. Her high school friend heartbroken.
My really good friend, she's not here anymore. And I didn't even get to see her. I didn't even get to say bye.
Now President Trump is issuing a new threat to strike Pickaxe Mountain, a site near one of Iran's main nuclear enrichment facilities. If the U.S. does this, Iran warns it could target any American entity in the region. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
OpenAI said yesterday that an agent powered by its advanced AI models went rogue during a security test and triggered a hack that compromised the infrastructure of the AI startup. In a blog post, OpenAI said that it was testing the capabilities of some of the most advanced models in a controlled environment, but that the agent managed to escape containment, reach the internet, and break into Hugging Face to try to satisfy the testing goal. OpenAI said that the breakout was, quote, an unprecedented cyber incident involving state-of-the-art cyber capabilities, and that the company was reinforcing safeguards. OpenAI's disclosure says that its advanced models were responsible for the breach, despite having placed them in what it described as, quote, a highly isolated environment, will likely intensify over the power and risk of frontier models as well. Well, now to the latest outbreak sparking concern. Legionnaire's disease has claimed the life of another person in New York, and U.S. measles cases just hit a 35-year record high, and more people are being sickened by the parasitic infection that triggered a major lettuce recall. Here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
The CDC has now confirmed more than 4,100 cases of cyclosporiasis, making 2026 the worst year for the parasitic infection on record.
We do have the outbreak under control.
Yesterday, Health Secretary RFK Jr. said the outbreak, which has hospitalized more than 300 people since May, is under control.
We have done extensive forensics, epidemiological forensics, and we've identified the source of the outbreak.
Kennedy pushed back on growing criticism of the CDC ending its mandatory reporting of cyclosporiasis cases last year in one of its surveillance programs.
We've had no cuts in our surveillance program, and all the states will tell you that. We're still doing forensics, we're still doing surveillance in all the states.
Another nationwide health concern, a measles outbreak.
The United States has had more reported measles cases in the last 18 months than in the previous 25 years combined.
Infections already surpassing the total for the entirety of last year, which was the highest since 1991. Health experts linking it to a decline in vaccinations in recent years. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Well, the president continues his efforts to bring pharmaceutical production back to the U.S. by planning steep tariff rates on certain medications manufactured overseas. President Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, writing he plans to impose tariffs on generic drugs brought into the U.S. The post said that as of this August, generic drugs imported into the country will continue to have a 0% tariff for 2 years. However, tariff rates will spike to 100% in 2028 and then to 200% in 2029. The post states that the move is to, quote, reshore generic pharmaceutical production into America. The president also suggesting companies that do not build factories in the U.S. will face penalties. The administration has previously exempted generic drugs from tariffs, and the FDA says 90% of medications sold in the U.S. are generic drugs, many of which are commonly manufactured in India, with China also supplying many active ingredients. Supporters of the tariff policy argue the U.S. is overly reliant on international countries for medication. Meanwhile, critics say it could lead to a shortage of crucial drugs. Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Heartland Volunteer Fire Department about their Christmas in July celebrations. Don't go away.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Now to some giants of the sea. A group of beluga whales that had been left stranded at a now defunct amusement park are now settling into their new homes right here in the U.S. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, 6 rescued beluga whales are settling into their new homes in the U.S. after an unprecedented rescue mission.
Moving a beluga whale is actually quite complex.
The whales were among 30 left in limbo at a shuttered amusement park in Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Without intervention, they face an increasingly uncertain future, including the possibility of euthanasia.
Each whale, weighing up to 4,000 pounds, was coaxed into a custom sling and hoisted by crane into a padded container full of water. They were then trucked to Toronto's airport and flew south on a transport plane. Pilots told to keep takeoffs and landings gentle. Veterinarians at their sides for every mile.
Beluga whales are very, very big animals. They require big containers, big planes, big trucks.
On Tuesday, 4 females, Acadia, Osiris, Sierra, and Lillooet, surfaced together at Chicago's Shed Aquarium. And 2 more, Birdie Bots and Frankie, splashed down at SeaWorld San Antonio.
I love to tell people that they kind of dance to their own song. They're challenging, they're social, they're extremely social, they're playful, they are inquisitive, they're troublemakers, and we love all that about them.
The massive mammals will have round-the-clock monitoring as the belugas adjust to their new multi-million-gallon habitats. And already there are good signs the belugas are eating and exploring their new world.
We're honored to get to help.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We do have a small craft advisory that is posted until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Also a high surf advisory that is up just about in here and now lasts until 8 p.m. as we head towards this evening. Here we are. We also have areas of dense fog, pretty widespread, that is developing this morning. Definitely be careful with that as you do make that morning commute. That will be hard to see as you do move forward this morning. Remember, low beams or fog lights, do not use your high beams. But otherwise, we've had precipitation passing through this morning. Any thunderstorms have been farther down toward the south over the ocean. As we do zoom things out, we are seeing an area of low pressure tracking off towards the north and east, and we are going to see a few more thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon period today. Here's Futurecast again. We are going to catch a little bit of a break, a few showers possible, some more thunderstorms this afternoon before those taper off. Here's your hourly forecast as we do push forward today. We'll have some clouds, a few showers possible with more thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon, with temperatures warming into the upper 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. Well, now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Alex Stone.
RoboCop will soon be fighting crime on Prime Video. Amazon MGM Studios announcing it's producing a TV series version of the 1987 movie classic. The show will follow a similar plot with a giant tech company convincing a city to put a robot on the police force.
Hey, sweetie.
The trailer is out for the upcoming horror movie The Other Mommy. Jessica Chastain stars as a mother dealing with marital problems and an evil entity that takes on her appearance. It hits theaters in October. A lightsaber prop with Luke Skywalker's severed hand from The Empire Strikes Back is sold at auction for $3.75 million. Heritage Auction says that's the highest price ever for a Star Wars prop. And happy birthday to actress and singer Selena Gomez, who turns 34 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Alex Stone, ABC News.
Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports, and stay tuned for that interview. Don't go away.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Chevy drivers across America will do a lot in the next 5 years. But one thing they won't do is pay interest on their new Chevy. Right now, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. With no payments for 90 days. Because you've earned this summer. Now it's time to go get it.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Folks, we'll start with some fun news regarding the Maine basketball royal family. The Flags will be appearing on Celebrity Family Feud on Thursday. Cooper will be joined by his brother and Maine basketball star ace, his brother Hunter, and parents Kelly and Ralph as they take on Team Barstool in the family favorite game show. Team Barstool will have familiar faces such as Dave Portnoy and Ryan Whitney on their squad. The special episode is set to air on Thursday at 8 p.m. on ABC. And ABC sent us a quick preview. Check it out.
Name something a player probably got that a regular guy might not.
Lots of women.
You say he better not.
Better not.
Well, Miss Kelly, you're a little late for that one, huh? He's in the league now. He's under the influence.
It's under Mama's influence. No. Mama said no.
Yeah, my mama told me no, too. I love my mama dearly, Miss Kelly. As soon as she let me out of Sunday school, I wanted a girl. Got lots of women.
That is hilarious. Two things I'm looking forward to there. Kelly against the Barstool crew. If you know Kelly, you know she is a competitor. And if you know the Barstool crew, you know they've got some yappers on them. So I'll be interested to see if they interact. And then Hunter. Hunter's a wild card in all this. He's got quite the personality. That's going to be a very fun watch. That's not the only Cooper Flag news we have for you, though. He also announced that he and his cousin will be opening a sports card shop here in Maine. Cooper Flag joined comedian Kevin Hart on stage at Fanatics Fest, where they discussed a variety of topics, but Coop eventually announced his intent to open a sports card shop alongside his cousin here in Maine in the near future. Here's the moment he announced it at Fanatics Fest.
It's cool. So me and my cousin, we're starting a shop back home in Maine. We're starting a card shop.
Well, you just dropped that like it's not that big of a deal. That's a big deal, man.
That was just a quick snippet. There aren't many details outside of the fact it will be happening, but as we learn more, we will make sure to share that information right here with you on Fox 22 and ABC 7. We head south now for round 2 of the Maine Women's Amateur Championship at Valhalla in Cumberland, where it was very breezy today. Out of the Woodlands, beginning the day with a 4-shot lead here and a beautiful tee shot on the par 3 11th. I wish I had that pure of a swing. Sits down nicely there on the 11th green. Abby Flanagan out of Springbrook knocking down a tough par putt on 11 herself. She's currently 3rd, 7 shots back though. Ruth Colucci saving par on number 13. She's going to begin tomorrow's final round in 2nd, 6 shots out. Maria on 15 with a beautiful second shot, putting it a few feet from the cup. She'll take a 6-shot lead heading into tomorrow's 3rd and final round. The shot of the day, though, belongs to Valhalla's Meredith Kerner. Her approach on 18 actually hits the pin, and she would tap in for birdie. This is what we call home course advantage right there. The pure swing, nice and smooth, hits the pin and settles down nicely, and we'll go take a look at the leaderboard now. From Woodlands leads by 6 strokes. Ruth Colucci from Biddeford Saco is plus 13. Flanagan is plus 14. Jade Haylock plus 16. Holden, Holmes, and Treadwell rounded out there at the bottom. Well, folks, we will go to Boston now, where the Red Sox are now on a 14-game win streak after last night's thriller against the Baltimore Orioles. The victory was an exciting one for Boston fans, and it certainly wasn't an easy one for the team. The Sox and Orioles went back and forth all night. There were a total of 5 lead changes, with Baltimore taking the lead in the top of the 7th. Zane Rafaela's clutch 2-out single tied the game in the bottom of the inning, sending it to the 8th with a 5-5 score after allowing no runs in the top of the frame. Boston's Caleb Durbin took the plate in the bottom and knocked one over the green monster to take the 6-5 lead, which would stick after another shutout in the top of the 9th. This win marks the 14th straight for the Sox, the 2nd longest run in franchise's history. Interim manager Chad Tracy says this win streak is strictly a result of execution by the players.
It was unbelievable. It was a heck of an effort. Had to come back multiple times and kept fighting back. Was a heck of a win. We're playing good baseball. I know it's hard to win that many games in a row when you're playing good baseball, but we're doing a lot of things right. So I mean, yeah, the number of wins in a row is hard to believe, but they're playing, they're giving everything they got, and they're executing, and they're doing a great job.
Sox game for Tuesday night postponed. They will play a doubleheader on Wednesday as they go for the tie, and eventually, hopefully, if they take care of business in the first game, a breaking of that record. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money, and I'll fight to get it for you. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Another client had a brain injury, and we got them $1.15 million. If you get hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
It's a big, big deal. Summer is a big deal at Toyota.
It's the final days of Toyota's Big Deal Summer Event, where you could get a deal like an affordable $279 a month lease on a stylish Corolla Cross SUV with a $14,764 total contract cost. Summer's a big deal at Toyota, the longest lasting brand with the best resale value. So see your New England Toyota dealer.
It's a big, big deal.
Toyota, let's go places.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Warning, entering keepsakes may cause extreme creativity. From gorgeous fabrics and cozy yarn to gifts you didn't know you needed, we've got it all. Dive into quilting, grab a sewing machine, or join a class and unleash your inner artist. Stick around for our mystery quilt projects if you love a good surprise. And yes, we have a fudge counter, because crafting burns calories, right? Keepsakes, where your hobbies and your sweet tooth live happily ever after.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we are joined by Glenn Carmichael, who is the chief at the Heartland Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So you guys have a special event coming up, and this is a whole weekend-long thing. It is your Christmas in July celebrations, as we'll call it. What is going to be going on this weekend at your department?
So we're actually doing it at the community center at 62 Elm Street.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of companies and businesses that have donated trees.
Yeah.
We will be raffling them off. People can come in, buy tickets, and then put it in whatever bucket they choose.
Sure. So you'll have, you know, maybe a set of prizes or something with the tree that people can kind of go around and get those raffle tickets, put them in whatever tree they want, and have a chance of winning something, plus a new Christmas tree, which is always great come Christmas time. And you said that this is happening at the community center, right?
Yep.
Okay, so just to let people know, what's the address of that again?
62 Elm Street.
Okay, and for you guys, you're a full volunteer staffed department, like a lot of different fire departments here in the state of Maine. All of these different fundraisers that you guys do, how does that help you, and what does that money go to?
So normally we pick once a year.
Yep.
We try to buy a new tool. This year we're trying to buy new extraction tools.
Sure.
Other years we've done new gear for new firefighters.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Make sure everyone's stocked and make sure the whole department is up to date on all of that stuff.
That way, and they're safe when they go in.
Exactly. That's a huge deal. Yeah,
Yes.
very, very important. So this is happening this Friday, actually. So it's not just weekend. It's happening on Friday from 4 to 8.
Yes.
And then you have Saturday 10 to 8, and then Sunday 10 to 3. So people have a ton of time to swing by with you guys and donate. What other fundraisers have you guys done in the past? I know you mentioned a few.
So we've done, we do an annual fishing derby.
Nice.
We usually do a fairly big prize on that.
Yep.
We've done hunter's breakfast.
Nice.
We've done meat package raffles.
Oh, cool.
We've done a lot.
Yeah, a ton of stuff, exactly. Well, I think it's a great opportunity for people to not only come out and support you guys, but also maybe walk away with a nice gift in return. For the people that have supported you guys in the past or that are coming this weekend to support you, do you have anything to say to them?
Just thank you for everything that they do.
Yeah.
Without the community and the people, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Absolutely. Well, Glenn, nice meeting you, and thank you so much for coming in. Any other events that you guys put on, we'd love to have you back in here.
All right. I thank you.
Yes, of course. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. We have visibility that is down this morning with areas of dense fog that has been developing, so definitely be careful with that as you do make that morning commute. It will be difficult to see for a little while until that fog lifts. But as we do push forward this morning, some advisories posted. We have a small craft advisory until Thursday at around 6 a.m. We also have a high surf advisory up just about in here. That is up until 8 p.m. this evening. Wave heights definitely getting active out there at around 3 to 5 feet according to the buoys, and even farther out towards sea, this buoy here reporting 5 feet, a little bit lower farther out towards sea. So right nearby, this is where it's definitely a little bit active at this moment in time. We have precipitation precipitation that has tracked off towards the north and east this morning. Not much lightning with it at this point. Any thunderstorms are definitely over the ocean. We'll have a little bit more activity as we head towards today. A few rain showers possible, thunderstorms as we head towards the afternoon with this area low pressure rotating through. Then once we get this through, high pressure will be moving in. So here's futurecast for today. Yes, a few rain showers possible. Will then be partly cloudy with a few more thunderstorms this afternoon. In the early evening, before we push all this out of here, will then be partly cloudy overnight. And then Thursday, a nice day. Lots of sunshine, few passing clouds possible. And then Thursday night looking very nice with hardly any clouds at all. And then overall gusty winds picking up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour at times today. And then later on tonight, still some gusty winds, but overall not looking too bad at all. So overall for today, we do have partly cloudy skies, scattered thunderstorms possible late with highs in the upper 70s, south wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, thunderstorms early, then partly cloudy, lows in the low 50s, and that west wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, mostly sunny and breezy, highs in the upper 70s, and that west wind at about 25 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday, mostly sunny with highs in the low 80s. And then for your Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid 80s. And then mid 80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky.
Chevy drivers across America will do a lot in the next 5 years. But one thing they won't do is pay interest on their new Chevy. Right now, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. With no payments for 90 days. Because you've earned this summer. Now it's time to go get it.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
Critical investments are strengthening Maine, thanks to Senator Susan Collins. The biggest investment in our rural hospitals in decades. New investments for working waterfronts, like the breakwater in Eastport. Investments to help homeless veterans find housing. Investments for Maine to train new doctors and nurses. Thousands of investments, thanks to the power of Senator Susan Collins. Call Senator Collins and ask her to keep delivering for Maine.
In Maine, your home takes a beating. Wind, snow, time. That's why you call a crew that knows how to build it right. Certified Therma-Tru door installers, so it's sealed tight and built to last. Big job, small job, doesn't matter. If it's part of your home, we handle it. No runaround, no shortcuts, just solid work and people who stand behind it. Alpha Construction, built with quality, backed by trust.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Where every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You had me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Actor Ryan Gosling finally getting his wish. It's been 10 years since the release of La La Land, the Oscar-winning musical, also starring Emma Stone. And during that decade, Gosling had complained about his hand in the movie's poster. And now, to celebrate the 10-year milestone, they've released a new version of the poster with an improved version of his hand. Gosling letting us in on some of that movie magic.
This is my Hail Mary attempt to fix my La La hand.
3, 2, 1, go!
How's my hand?
It's good.
Well, La La Land is being re-released in theaters mid-August. Meanwhile, a robot is sent into space to deliver life-extending jetpacks to old SpaceX satellites. The futuristic mission is the second of the month. The first saw a 3-armed spacecraft sent into orbit in early July to boost NASA's Swift Observatory in order to stop it from falling to the Earth. Tuesday, mission launched a two-armed Northrop Grumman mission robotic vehicle into space, where it will spend the next year moving into the correct orbit 22,000 miles above Earth. Once in place, it will attach a jetpack onto an aging communications satellite and help 2 other satellites as well. The mission is part of a money-conscious effort to keep old spacecrafts operating for as long as possible. And talk about regrets. A French newspaper is reporting 2 suspects in last year's Louvre Museum jewel heist told investigators that the suspected mastermind behind it all wasn't happy with the outcome and that he, quote, thought he could have taken more. Back in October, 4 men dressed as construction workers stole several French crown jewels worth about $100 million. Investigators say it took them only about 8 minutes to pull it all off. All in all, about 11 suspects were eventually arrested. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, if you